evening, everybody. Welcome to the Jersey Shore Cannabis Network. This is the 710 version of the medical marijuana expansion that has recently been passed on July 1st by New Jersey legislation. My name is Brandon Chewy. I'm the founder of the Asbury Park Cannabis Community, and I'm also a person in recovery from a deadly disease, just like many other people. The Asbury Park Cannabis Community, a little background, we formed this cannabis community to embrace local businesses, local patients, and to protect the people that are within our community. Now, we have patients in our community. We have professionals in our community. We're beginning to bridge the gap within society, within economics, within our entire world as we know it. Cannabis is coming in as an alternative medicine, as they call it. Now, I've been using cannabis for a very long time, and I was told it was wrong. And finally, after a very long battle with the disease that I've now overcome, cannabis has saved my life. And I'm here to tell you that it saved my life. And the people behind me are professionals that I've researched and had the pleasure of speaking with. Some I've just recently met. But these are people that know the laws of cannabis in New Jersey better than I know myself, and I research all day long. Besides this point, there are a lot of changes going on right now in New Jersey. We currently had a bill that failed in legislation in recent months to legalize. And to some that's a good thing, to others that's bad. We always need patient expansion, access for the patients, which is currently being held back. But we have good news. We have a medical expansion that has been proposed by legislation. And our panelists behind me are going to go into depth about how we have a very extensive uphill battle to fight. And we really want to explain to the public that it's your turn, it's your voice. If you don't stand up, each and every one of you, and network with the people in your community, guess who's going to do it for you? The corporations, big pharma, big tobacco, big business. Do you think they care about your children, their school system? Because they don't. Do you think Amazon cares about what school your kids go to? They don't. Walmart? They don't. That is what the future of New Jersey cannabis looks like if communities do not stick together and work together as organizations, as businesses, as local businesses, as patients. And we have to remember to put patients first. There's a lot of licensing applications going on. We're going to go into depth on that. We're going to go into depth on the medical expansion process and how it is going to help patients further with this expansion. But we have to remind ourselves constantly that this is about patients getting wellness. For years, I personally was told by doctors to take pills that made me sick. And for some reason, I heard recently from somebody, doctors make pharmacists, they make pills to keep us on these pills. It's very rare you hear someone, oh, that pill cured me. I don't need it anymore. Usually you're on that pill, and you're on that pill for a long time. So we have an alternative medicine that's been known for hundreds of years, thousands of years to heal people. Through Prohibition, we've had a large amount of rhetoric that has put a large amount of people in harm's way from Prohibition, failed efforts of criminal justice system attempts to reform our societies, our neighborhoods, and our communities. And we have established this community, this network, to bring voice and communication and a transparent discussion to the community. So we're here for you. Reach out to us, the Asbury Park Cannabis Community. The Jersey Cannabis Network is our event line. For the Jersey Cannabis Network, we will continue to discuss events with business, with patients, with organizations that want to get involved. This is life or death. For years, I've seen friends die from opioid pill addiction. And now I'm seeing so many friends heal from cancer, from opioid addiction, from a multitude of diagnoses that are now healing with CBD or with cannabis, and we need to learn about these medicines. We can no longer, it's past the time to say they're in the dark, they're in the closet. We need to expand on them. And I'm very grateful to introduce the people behind me. My mother, Lorraine Chewy, Dr. Lorraine Chewy. She will be, after dealing with me for 34 years, she deserves a round of applause. applause, to say the least. But she's a member of the National Cannabis Nurses Association, and she is a very accredited doctor and researcher, and she is a very big part of my recovery, and she's a very big part of cannabis. You know, for years as a nurse, she was told by her staff that cannabis was not acceptable in the field, just like many of the panelists behind me. Many of our professions believe cannabis is not professional, it's not welcome. People are losing their jobs are at risk. These are hurdles that we have to overcome as community members. We have to continue to have these discussions with our communities on this topic and on patients' rights subjects, because if we don't have them, like I said, the corporations aren't going to have them because they don't care about our rights. They don't care about our schools. They care about their profit, the return on their investment. They don't care about how well your children are being educated in your school systems, or how well your health insurance is, or how well your health care is taken care of. We as community members owe it to ourselves, to our children, and to our future to get educated on the facts of cannabis and alternative medicine that has saved my life. It has saved many people's lives. I used to hear stories of people dying every day from heroin addiction, because we have a severe opioid epidemic in Monmouth and Ocean counties, all out New Jersey. Now I'm hearing success stories of people using CBD and cannabis, healing, relief from wellness, relief from extreme suffering. But in New Jersey, we're still behind the curve a little bit. You know, there is an extreme amount of cannabis that is needed to be extracted, to be infused, to treat certain conditions. And these allotments they're getting expanded in baby steps. And that's where I'll pass it up to the panel so they can explain it to you guys in a little bit more depth. But I want to thank everyone from the Asbury Park cannabis community that contributed to putting this event together, everyone that got involved. I welcome you all and thank you all to please come to the next event. Contact us online, get involved, let us know what you're doing. We want to get involved and help your community. Let's start a cannabis community near you. Get your community involved in the discussion, because if we don't do it, the corporations are going to do it. It's New Jersey. Have they done it before? Right? Yeah. All right, so let's do it. Let's get together and let's talk. I'm going to pass the microphone to my mother now, and she's going to take over the panel discussion. Thank you all for your time, and I'll speak to you again for this conversation. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. I'll let the panel introduce themselves, because I think they'll do it best. I want to make sure that you all know that you're very welcome to ask questions. In between the questions we have planned. So if you have a question, raise your hand, and Brandon will come out with the microphone, and he'll make sure your questions are heard. We have a set of questions that we've already developed, but we're happy to hear yours as well.
Hi everybody, my name is Jay Lassiter. I'm from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I've been HIV positive for 27 years, since I was very young. I've used medical cannabis that whole time, most of that time as a criminal, including today, and hopefully later. I'm a writer for Leafly. That's the biggest marijuana website in the world, so it's pretty cool to get paid. I know, right? If you told me I would grow up and get paid to write about weed, I would have just, I wouldn't have believed it. But we were smoking shitty pot back then anyway, so I couldn't blame it on that. I'm also sort of a lobbyist, and I do lots of things that lobbyists do, and hopefully agitating to make our marijuana laws better. There's a lot of room for improvement, so thank you.
Hello, I'm Charlonna McKeithen. I'm a little more straight to the point. I'm the new Deputy Director of New Jersey NORML. I'm a patient, I'm an advocate, and an educator. I am in this space because it has given me my quality of life back. And that's the type of information we have to get out to the community so that they can come out and fight for what we know is right. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Press. I'm a partner at Paul Schatz. That's my firm banner over there. We're based in New York and New Jersey, but we're activists in the community. We represent companies across the spectrum of the life cycle of cannabis businesses, but it's something we believe in deeply within our group. And as we like to say, we're committed to growth and to help build this industry.
Thank you. My name is Ken Walsky. I'm a registered nurse. I've been an RN for 43 years here in the state of New Jersey. I'm also licensed in Pennsylvania. I've worked in psychiatric hospitals, intensive care units, and coronary care units. I was a public health nurse in the city of Trenton for a while, and I worked for 22 years in the New Jersey Department of Corrections in various capacities. For the last 13 years, I've been executive director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey, organization I co-founded in 2003. The mission of our organization is to educate the public about the benefits of marijuana. We believe marijuana is a safe and effective therapeutic agent for a wide variety of diseases, symptoms, and conditions, and that no patient should ever suffer needlessly without it, and that no patient should ever go to jail for following the advice of a physician. So we have meetings on the second Tuesday of the month at Lawrence Township Library. Everyone is welcome. I was also one of the co-founders of the American Cannabis Nurses Association. We have a couple of cannabis nurses. And I look forward to answering your questions and talking about medical marijuana.
My name is John Henry Barr. I go by JH. I am a steering committee member of New Jersey United for Marijuana Reform. I was invited to be a steering committee member by the leaders of the group at the time, which were mostly members of the American Civil Liberties Union. I was invited because at the time I was the president of the New Jersey State Municipal Prosecutors Association. I have for 18 years been a municipal prosecutor. I am still a municipal prosecutor in the Township of Clark, and it was under my leadership in 2014 that the association came out in favor of legalizing, taxing, and regulating marijuana. I'm very proud of that. I will admit that I'm otherwise kind of the oddball marijuana legalization advocate because I'm otherwise very law enforcement oriented and conservative and believe in a lot of things that many of my brothers and sisters in the legalization movement don't necessarily agree with, but that's okay. I'm glad to be able to really help out with this effort, and I'm very happy to be able to answer questions and assist with tonight's event.
Great. Thank you to our panelists for agreeing to come tonight. We have a lot to discuss and a lot to learn, and I'm going to start with some questions we have here, but as I said, if you do have a question, please let us know, raise your hand, and Brandon will come out with the microphone to get your question as well. I don't know why I don't have my glasses on because I can't see the question. Okay, so my first question is for Ken. How does the expansion of the medical marijuana program impact patient accessibility in New Jersey? Another part of that is, what are the changes to the program as far as obtaining a medical marijuana patient ID card?
Thank you. Well, there have been great changes to the medical marijuana program since the Murphy administration came on board. We were actually involved in the, as I mentioned before, our organization formed in 2003, and we went looking for legislative champions to introduce a medical marijuana bill in 2004, and we had a medical marijuana bill introduced in 2005, the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act. That bill spent 5 years in the legislature, and it finally passed into law in 2010. Governor Christie came on board a couple of days later and really would not have signed the law. He said he really started a series of delays and obstructions into the full implementation of the law. And so there was not too much progress during the Christie administration. In the 8 years, there was only one added medical condition that was post-traumatic stress disorder that our organization was very instrumental in adding. And with the Murphy administration, it's been really like night and day. The first week in the Murphy administration, he issued an executive order number 6 to ease and expand access to the medical marijuana program. And that's basically exactly what he's done. we had approved a number of medical conditions, for example, chronic pain of musculoskeletal origin, chronic pain of visceral origin, basically any chronic pain that you might have. In addition to anxiety, one of the mental or emotional conditions that marijuana can be helpful for, Tourette's syndrome and migraines and opioid use disorder in conjunction with medication-assisted treatment. So this expansion of the medical conditions has led to an explosion of patients. There were about 12,000 patients in the program, and now we have around 40,000 patients, I believe, in the medical marijuana program. The commissioner of the Department of Health, the first commissioner of the Department of Health, when the regulations were developed, we wrote a letter and asked if we could be involved in the development of the regulations, because we knew how important regulations were. As a state employee for 25 years, I was well aware of this process. But the commissioner of the Department of Health at the time wrote back and said she was not interested in hearing or working with any of the marijuana advocates. Well, with the Murphy administration, that was very different. We had meetings with the assistant commissioner, Jeff Brown, of the medical marijuana program, with the deputy commissioner, Jackie Cornell, and they really did listen to our concerns, and they are attempting to meet many of the concerns that we raised about the medical marijuana program. So we're very pleased with this. And the commissioner, who was a physician at the time, and I believe he's still commissioner, he's about to resign, but he went to various medical schools and hospitals in the state of New Jersey, and he gave teaching to the physicians in the state. Over 1,000 doctors listened to him talk about, how marijuana really should be considered mainstream medicine now. So now, while one of the things the Christie administration did was to enact the physician registry, which was not called for in the law. Only a patient registry was called for in the law, and it was very unpopular with physicians. So only about maybe 2% of the physicians took part in the physician registry during the Christie administration. Well, that was only a couple of hundred doctors, and now we have almost 1,000 physicians taking part in the medical marijuana program. So that's a big improvement. The other thing they did was they lowered the price for certain people to get a medical marijuana card. It used to cost $200 for 2 years, and if you're a senior citizen, or if you're low income, or if you're a military veteran, now it only costs $20. So this has led to an explosion of the patients in the program. Right now, what we have not done is expanded the supply to meet the increasing demand. But the administration now is right on target with doing that by sending out an RFA, the request for applications for new alternative treatment centers in the state of New Jersey. This will be talked about more. And was there a second part of the question?
About getting the ID card.
Oh yeah, well it just made it a little easier and a lot quicker too. Actually, it used to take quite a while to get, several weeks to a month to get an ID card from the Department of Health, and now it's a matter of days to get an ID card.
If I could interject, Ken, and to those that know Ken or don't know Ken has been a fellow mentor of mine. I've been following his research for a very long time. His organization has welcomed me and spoken to me before. So does anyone in the crowd, have any of you attempted to get your medical cannabis license and had trouble and had to wait? No? You want to talk about it? Because do you have any questions? We have a lot of people that have a lot of trouble getting their patient ID. So if you're having trouble getting your patient ID, now's the time to ask the questions that you need to ask. What's your name?
Yeah. So I am 19 years old, so I understand that's a little like, some people might think that's like a little whatever, for someone to get their card. But I'm a victim of domestic violence, post-traumatic stress disorder, and major depressive disorder, anxiety. And I've been trying for since about March when I got my diagnosis to get my medical card, and every time I've been put on hold or re-looped to another call or something, or told that I need a referral, or I've just been they just kind of like shrugged me off, and you know, I don't really know what to do at this point, which is kind of why I came out tonight to see if anybody could help me with doing that, because I do use cannabis, you know, illegally, but I use it because it genuinely does help me out, and I know that it helps me, and I don't want to use it illegally, and I don't want to, you know, have to go through the, you know, trying all these other meds that I know I don't want to do, and when it just works. So yeah.
We can definitely help you with that prescriber, absolutely. So Ken, in your experience, I mean, what is the fastest straight line route for an individual seeking a cannabis patient ID to receiving their patient ID for the people that don't know the process?
Well, you need some documentation that you have the condition that you qualify for. So, you know, you need a diagnosis of that condition by a physician. Now, you know, it wasn't hard for when we got the bill passed with the military veterans, because you know so many military veterans have the diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, and they would bring shopping bags full of, you know, unused pill bottles that they have used. You know, if you're 19 years old, you probably don't have the experience of having, you know, gone through a lot of medications that are attempted to, you know, treat post-traumatic stress disorder. Actually, it's interesting that post-traumatic stress disorder, the only two FDA-approved drugs for PTSD are Zoloft and Paxil, and those are two antidepressants. And PTSD is not a depressive illness, so there is no good treatment available. So, but if you have the diagnosis, individual doctors may require different levels of certitude of your diagnosis. You know, if you have it from a psychiatrist or a physician, then you know you could present that to one of the doctors in the program, and that should be enough without, you know, having to go through all of the medications that are commonly used for PTSD. But physicians are all listed on the website of the Department of Health. The Department of Health website, the medicinal marijuana program, is a very good, very thorough website. It's nj.gov and /health/medical marijuana. And it has all the qualifying conditions that are there, all the physicians listed by county and by specialty. And if you have problems with one physician, you might want to try a different physician. That would be my only recommendation for you. And I hope that helps.
Okay. My next question is for Mark. Mark, please talk about the number of licenses that are now available under the new medical expansion.
A little more than probably 2 months ago now, some of you may have seen that Governor Murphy, what we think was just an attempt to force the legislature to act, said that he was going to direct the Department of Health to put out RFAs, requests for applications, for 108 different licenses for medical cannabis that would have been cultivation, manufacturing, and dispensing. Ultimately, the amendment was enacted to the Compassionate Care Act, and so the current RFA calls for 24 total licenses, and it's divided up. The state divides up the licensed cannabis licenses typically in north, central, and south. And so what's available this round are 2 cultivation licenses in each of the north, south, and central. Of the south, I think, is 1, 5 dispensaries in each of those regions, and then they're also offering what's referred to as ATCs, but these are what people refer to, if you hear the term, vertically integrated licenses. So what they represent is companies and the existing 6 that are operating, and the last round of 6, they cultivate, they manufacture a process, and they dispense So those are also available. There are 3 of those available. And then there's going to be 1 float. Not quite clear where that might be, so the Department of Health will make that judgment on where that one might be cited based on their sense of need and I think the quality of the applicants.
Thank you. Second part of that question is, what process does the state choose to determine which license is best fit to obtain to grow, transport, and distribute?
Well, if I pulled it out, it would be a little daunting, but the way the state has gone about this is there's a scoring system, total of 1,000 points. And it's broken down by, and I'm not going to be able to touch on all of these, but your experience, your financial capability, your commitment to working with local municipalities, if you're a minority, if a women's-owned business, or if you're veterans, that there are points for all of that. You have to lay out what your procedures are if you're a cultivator, your security systems. All of these are aspects of the application. By the time you're done, it's a lengthy process, and the state has 90 days once the licenses are in place to score these, and then to award those licenses. And so, last round, companies that scored above 900 out of 1,000 were the ones that were awarded the licenses.